What's up, YouTube? Erod212 here, and today we're going to talk about what books I'm sending to CGC and why. All right, so when I send out books to CGC, my process usually is I look at the type of book I'm buying, the price point I have into that book, and my CGC cost. Now, these are all going to be books that eventually I'll try to sell to be able to purchase bigger books, or just to fund the hobby a little more. If it's for my PC, I really don't look into that because it's a book that I want, and that's just like something that you might also want to do. Also, it doesn't matter what the price is as far as if I'm going to get the value. If that book is sentimental or means something to me, there's several books that I just love and I have in the collection just because. But let me show you what I'm talking about with the first book. All right, so this is a book that has gotten extremely hot, and that's Daredevil #9 from 1999, I believe it is, 98, 99. It's that second Daredevil series, and this is the first appearance of Echo. So Maya Lopez has been not rumored, is actually going to appear in the Hawkeye series, and now there's talk of Maya Lopez getting her own series on Disney Plus. So Maya Lopez has become a big deal. So let's take a look at the numbers on this, and I'll explain to you what I mean. All right, so here we go. Daredevil #9 from 1999. So I've seen this book, and you could usually pick this book up for about $150. So if you put another $30 into the book, you're at $180 plus a press. You're at $190. To get it in a 9.4, you're really not getting that much of a return on your investment. But this book seems to be going up. We've had the last sale at $285. Now, if you're in that same price point and you're in a 9.6, you're at $380 for the last sale. And then $750 is the last sale in October. But let's just look at the 9.6 and let's see how this book is moving. As you can see, it's got an upward trend. This is a good book to pick up now. It just keeps rising and going up right now based on all the movie spec. And especially now that they're talking about Vincent D'Onofrio coming and possibly being a cameo in Hawkeye. If you haven't read the series, Kingpin plays a major role in Echo's life. Basically, he assassinates her father and blames it on Daredevil, trains her to be his assassin. So there could be a lot of movement on this book if D'Onofrio, who was fantastic as the Kingpin, shows up. And if Charlie Cox shows up in that series and they go that route, I mean, Echo was also the first Ronin. So there's another route that you could go with that character. There's just quite a few different ways that character can be utilized. And I just think it's a book which still has room to grow. A book I would definitely get graded in high grade. It does have a pressable defect that's on most of these books. So just take a really good look at the book before you purchase it. Next book I'm going to talk about, a book that has always been dear to everybody's heart, but within the last year or so, I believe that based on two things, this book has gotten a lot of steam, and that's Incredible Hulk #340. This book jumped up really big with the market. If you're paying attention to the market, people are gravitating towards the great pieces that Todd McFarlane did. Remember, Todd McFarlane is probably one of the best modern day, Jim Lee, modern day artists who are now getting in their 50s, So they're the senior statesmen now, where we had Joe Sinnott and Larry Lieber and all of those guys, and Denny O'Neil and guys like that. They're all passing away. Larry Lieber's still alive, but you understand what I'm saying. Now that next generation, that generation that changed the industry, Liefeld and Silvestri, and those are becoming your senior statesmen, and people are gravitating towards these covers. This Incredible Hulk is just, iconic. How many times has this been replicated? So let's take a look at the numbers and see what I'm talking about. All right, so here we go. Incredible Hulk #340, iconic Todd McFarlane cover. As you can see, A 9.8 is now $1,500 with the last sale at $1,600. Another book that keeps rising. If you can find this book at an affordable price or had it in your collection, it might be worth grading. Newsstand sold for $4,000 recently in August. Now a 9.6, we're a little more affordable here with a 90-day average of 34 copies. And 165 copies have sold over the year. Before that, 144, and before that, 143. Book continuously moves, but if you're looking from 2020 to 2021, you're talking over double the value on this book, and a 9.4, a little more of an affordable entry point for people if you can find this book in that $150 to $160 range. You're at $323, a 90-day average. There was a shorter sale there. But if we take a look, let's take a look at this book here. I'm sorry. Let's take a look at this book here. And you see it's had some growth. It peaks up right around March. That's that big peak. And the book has moved a little bit. But this book is, if it's in your collection, you can get it for an affordable price. This is a book that I would definitely grab up. There's been multiple sales on this book, and that's another thing that shows people want this book. As you can see, you've got just from August, you're in that $300 to $400 range, about $350 range for the most part with this book. A couple lower sales there in October, but I would say it's an easy $300 book all day long, and I just don't think that this book is ever going to go down and be any less value. If anything, it's just going to keep going up as people keep trying to latch on, especially to the higher grade ones, to get that McFarlane cover. So just keep an eye on that book. If you have it in your collection, it's a book that I suggest you get graded, especially if it's in anything from like a 9.2 on. I would definitely go for it. Next book I want to talk about is another book that just went through the roof. Raw copies are at about, I think, $200 now. I was picking them up when they were like $75, and the variant for this thing is just nuclear. It's almost as high as like the Greg Land Spider-Gwen. It's getting there. It's not the Miles Morales Ultimate Fallout 4 high. Nothing is at this point, but this is a top tier. The variant is top tier, and this book right now has become over $1,000 book, I believe. And that's Invincible Iron Man number 9, first appearance of Riri Williams, who has been announced to be in Disney Plus, and she's possibly going to be in the movies. I believe she's going to be in the Marvels. So we're talking a character who's going to grow and grow in the MCU. It's not a spec anymore. It is an actual thing. But let's take a look at what this book is going for right now. All right, so I was a little bit off, but this is what I'm talking to you about. A 9.8 on this book is an $800 book all day long. It's a 90-day average with 47 copies being sold at $810. And for the year average, it was 586. So it's just shown in the 90 days how much steam this book has picked up. A lot of heat on this book. That variant is over 4,000, with the last one selling at over $5,000. Wow, that's amazing. Again, a 9.6 is at $350 with the last sale of. But even in a 9.6, this is one of those books. And like I talked about before, there are certain modern grails right now, which at one time nobody would want them as a 9.6, that are respectable books as a 9.6. This being one of them. I only see this book spiking more the minute that there is a trailer release on this character. And if they build this character up properly, which Marvel has a tendency of doing, this is going to be another one of those books that is going to be out of people's reach if they don't get to it soon. So Riri Williams, good investment. Invincible Iron Man 7, the cameo, especially that Women of Power, another good investment. And there's a second print. Second print has actually a photo of Riri Williams over here. Another good book to pick up if you get the opportunity. Book I swear by. I feel that this character will get her just due in the MCU eventually. She is that top tier character along with Miles and along with Kamala. I think it's a better character than Riri Williams. It was fleshed out more and everything else. But it was in a movie, but it was a Fox movie, and that's NYX. So first appearance of Laura Kinney, daughter of Wolverine. I want to show you what this book is going for now, and I firmly believe that this book has not hit its ceiling. It is one of those books that is under the radar right now, even at the value it's going for, because it's not a cheap book, but it's still worth getting. Like this copy here, I think I got it for like $450, but well worth it, because if I sell this book, or when I sell this book, and it comes back in the grade I think it'll be worth it. All right, so as I was saying, NYX number 3. Take a look at that book in a 9.8, as compared to 2020 when it was down at $843. It was at $1,400 at the beginning of the year with 122 copies being sold, and since then, this book has just, crushed it, and it is now $1,700 of 90-day average, with the last sold at $1,529. 9.6, which is a better entry point. Even a 9.4 at this book is a better entry point. Let's look at it that way. If you could find this book in a 9.2 with pressable defects and get it for, let's say, $300, which is obtainable, it's a $664 book. Last sale being $650. It's just, and 12 copies have sold in this grade in a 9.4. When do you see that? And as you can see, the chart just keeps, it had its dip, but it's on an upward trend right there. Just a great book to pick up. And there is not even the smallest amount of news that NYX, Laura Kinney, is going to be in the MCU at this point. That is all just people speculating on the future. These are the things that you have to look at. Look at those characters that kind of had taken a dip down. The Inhumans is another group of characters that I think eventually will get their due in the MCU. I think Feige will do that right. They don't want to let it live the way it lived with that TV series, which was abominable. But another book to look at. Now, a book that's dear to my heart. I've loved this book forever. And I think that there's a lot of potential for this book, and it's a tough book to get in high grade because of the black background. Ticks show up on this continuously, and that's this book right here, Uncanny X-Men number 120. This is the cameo of Alpha Flight. It's the first time you see the Alpha Flight team. Jimmy Hudson and everybody else are part of Alpha Flight, and if you haven't read that, it's a good read. Let's take a look at the numbers on X-Men 120. All right, so here's X-Men 120. This is what I'm talking about. We're just going to look in between. An 8.5 a year ago was 197. Now, the last sold was $354 for an 8.5. A 9.0 just sold for $410, and a 9.2 is selling for about $483. We had a really good low sale there. Somebody did well on that book. So, this just is a great book to own. It's got a lot of, potential characters that haven't been revealed in the MCU. No mutants have been revealed. This is a whole Canadian team, which leads into Wolverine, the Weapon X project. It has so many things that it could, just touch. And there are other things that I think about all the time that I'll discuss in another video, but just reasons why Alpha Flight has a chance of possibly being one of those shows that comes to Disney Plus. It doesn't have to be a movie. They could start them off as an intro into the movie, but bring them into Disney Plus. But let's just say that you're looking at a 9.0. There were 3 sales on this, 33 sales in the year. And if you look over here, sales have stayed consistent. This book is consistently a good book to pick up. Between a $314 to $400 range. So if you can find this book at an affordable price, it's a $1.50 for this book, but I would take that every day of the week if I had the opportunity. Just a book that I truly adore. It's one of those books that I love having in my collection. Next book, I think it's a can't miss. we all think it's a can't miss, and that's Darth Vader #3, first appearance of Dr. Aphra. I don't think it's when or if Dr. Aphra is going to show up in Disney under the Star Wars reign. I think it's when. That character just has too much potential. And the first print, carries a premium. Second print, a little better. Third print is tough, but that fourth print is the one to get. I don't know the exact print run on this book, but this book right now in a 9.8 is just a beauty of a book to own. Let's take a look. So as you can see, 9.8 on first printing. 90-day average is down a little bit. It was at $400, about $383 with the last sold of $330. Second printing is about a $210 book. Last sold was $239. Third printing, we're looking at a 90-day average, which is a little bit down right now, $432. So this is the time to buy this book, because if you see it's trickling down as people forget that this book is out there for sale, and that there's a series coming or there's a possible series coming. It happens with a lot of books. We kind of lose interest, jump onto the next hot thing. That's when investors in the hobby like myself swoop in and try and get these books at better deals. But here we go. This is the 9.8. So you're looking at an upward tick. It's had 4 sales in 90 days with $894 average. Last sale was $740. A year it's been $806. So if you look at that, even at 9.6, it's a $400 book, 2 sales. So just a slight dip on it. Might be time to jump on this book if you get it for the right price. Dr. Aphra is a absolute must in anybody's collection. I swear by it. Another book who kind of crept up on me, and then announcements were made for the series. I happened to have a couple in my collection just because I had bought some collections that had these books in it. But the trailer came out, and the trailer looks insane for Netflix, and that's Sandman #1, the Neil Gaiman classic. And if this series does well, this book will continue to rise. Also, issue #4, issue #8, key issues to have on this. There's a couple of more issues, but you'd really take a look at this book. Let's look at #1, though, right? All right, as you can see, this book really has picked up a lot of heat. It went from a $500 book 2020. A year later was a $1,000 book. In the last 90 days, it's almost a $1,400 book. I mean, the growth on this book is just it's ridiculous. I would say that the trailer has a lot to do with it. That trailer was fantastic. But even a 9.6 is a $500 book with 23 copies being sold. A 9.4 is $340. I saw one of these for sale for $200 the other day. Should have picked it up, and I didn't. Shame on me, because I didn't really look at the condition. But let's just look at the 9.4. All right. So there you go. I mean, that book just started to climb and just has kept on climbing. May all the way into September, little dip, then it starts going up. This is right around where the trailer. Oh, that's last year, right? So this is the year it starts to pick up. We're probably right around the gigantic peak in the market. It dips a little bit, but then we get the trailer, and this book just went up again. So we're talking $355 sale was the last sale on this book. Affordable entry point. Unfortunately, now in the way that this industry is happening, that's an entry point book. But again, a book from the 80s, and it's condition sensitive because it has a lot of dark colors to it. So spine ticks show up real easy on this book. Another one of those books that used to be nothing. I literally used to sell this book at $10 a pop. I don't know how many of these things I had in my hand, and I've let go way too early, but no seller's remorse. We used to put them up in our auctions as filler books sometimes. It's not a filler book anymore. Marvel Now .1, #1, first full appearance of Kamala Khan as Miss Marvel. This book Watch the numbers on this book. That's all I'm going to say. All right, so this is what I was talking to you about. Marvel Now, all new Marvel Now .1 from 2014. All right, 90 day is $1,600. The last sale was $1,600. At the beginning of the year, you've had 55 copies sold, so it was a $1,200 book. The year before that, it was only a $600 book. So this book really, really has picked up a lot of steam. Again, why if you find this at an affordable price out there, I would pick it up. A 9.6 is almost a $500 book. But there's 18 sales on that, 12 sales on a 9.4. This is what I'm talking to you about now. 9.6s, 9.4s even on major books right now are selling. They are selling. Is it right there? And that's the peak. And we're still, it lowers a little bit, but it's got that ebbs and flows. And we haven't even really seen a trailer for Miss Marvel yet, with Kamala Khan. When that character, which is another character that's guaranteed, it's already been announced, she's been cast and everything, shows up in the movies or Disney Plus, it's just going to blow up. And Kamala Khan's a character that's here to stay. That's going to be a multi-movie character. Just that whole youth movement that Disney seems to be going towards, Young Avengers and possibly Champion somewhere down the line. Kamala Khan is here to stay. That's a book that's here to stay. No longer the days of a $25 to $50 book. Another book that's picked up a lot of traction. If you're fortunate enough to have one of these in your collection, I would probably get it graded right now because Netflix is putting out that series, the animated series for Usagi Yojimbo. Let's take a look at what this looks like. All right, so Usagi Yojimbo from 1987, number 1, Fantagraphic Books. This is another example of these independent books that for a long time had a niche following, but now people are going back to these books and realizing that the writing is great. There's some great character creations, a la The Crow and a bunch of others, Judge Dredd, and just books like that became television series that people are now going back to. Bone is another one that you see that people are just going crazy for. This is not the first appearance of Usagi Yojimbo. I believe that's Albedo number 2, but it is a big book right now because of what Netflix is doing. If you see right here, this book right now in a 9.8 is really, really carrying its own. It's at $1,700 for 5 sales. 12 sales, 12-month average is $1,400. Last sale is about $1,600. 9.6, one less sold for $420, so that might be the right time to buy it. I don't believe there's been a trailer on this yet. So still a good opportunity when you got a 9.4 selling in almost that same range. So 9.4, 9.6 are kind of in that same price point, almost maybe $100 less. That's why I say that $420 is kind of a fluke there. Probably like a $500 book. If you look at the graph, it's peaked up when the announcements were made. That's when the market is big. Then the announcements are made. And you've had 6 copies sold. So 8 copies altogether. I apologize. The last one being for $420. I just want to look at this for a second. We've had one sell as high as $900 too, but 500, 490, 545, 599, 525. So you know what? Somebody got a really good deal on this book here. It's probably like a $500 book. So that's what I'm saying about that book. Definitely a good book to own. Will it stay that high? No, I don't think so. I think once the series comes out, it'll go down a little bit, but we never know. Look at Sweet Tooth. That book has stayed consistent because of the series that Netflix put out there. There's a lot of material for Usagi Yojimbo. So if the series takes off well, it might be driven where that book maintains its value for a while. Lock and Key is another one where good writing on the series translated to the value of the book staying where it is. The Boys is another one, So again, all of these independent books that good writing leads to good scripts most of the time, and therefore the book maintains its value. Now, the last book is actually it's not the last book, but the last two books I'm going to show you all have that same theme as one of the books I showed you before. There are those Todd McFarlane cover arts, and that's Batman 423 and first print. Make sure it's a first print. You can tell it's the first print by the corner box over here. I believe second print has a DC on it. There is a third printing on this also, but just make sure, and also check the interior, make sure that it's first printing. This book went nuclear, and it's the first time that Todd McFarlane draws Batman. Look at that cover. That cover's been cover swiped a bunch of times. Let's take a look at this book. So 9.8 on this book is 90-day average is $2,300. A year ago it was $1,500. Last sale is $2,000 out of most people's price range. But 9.6s are going for over $500 right now, with 12 of them being sold. That tells me that, and I haven't even looked at it, but I would say that on the census, based on conditions, there are not as many 9.8s as there are, it's in equal ratio with the 9.6s. Usually that's when you'll see that gigantic leap. It's usually double on the book. As you see, like the 9.4s is $361. When that book is quadruple the price, that means that the census on 9.8s is low. Just a great book, and an awesome book to get McFarlane to sign. He already knows the perfect place to sign it. I actually have, I believe it's a 9.6 signed by McFarlane, which is staying in my collection. But let's look at a 9.6 and look at how this book is done. There you go. It's just that steady climb. That book is just continuing to climb. The last sale went down a little bit, but I don't think this book has hit its peak yet. Just awesome book. Again, it's all about finding it in the right price range. And the other thing I can't stress enough, look at this though, $599, $550, $625, $600, $580, all in the month of August. Over $600 sales, multiple sales, all the way going in through July, multiple sales on this book, $600. The thing I can't stress enough is make sure that your grading skills are up to par. That's the difference in finding these keys. When you go to a show, when you go to, especially an LCS, sometimes the guys at the LCS aren't the best of graders. You could walk in there and possibly get a great deal. If you haven't been watching my man Roman Curtis, he found an LCS that is completely misgrading their books, and Roman Curtis, being the smart guy that he is going in there picking off books left and right. He picked up some Fantastic Four Silver Age books that were way undergraded if what he showed us was what it was. It was on the latest video with the New York Warriors, I believe it was. And man, I mean, congratulations to him. And the last book that I'm sending in is this book. It's first full cover appearance of Venom, Amazing Spider-Man 316, another Todd McFarlane artwork. I mean, you could really highlight this guy's art right now because it is just all his books all his key covers seem to be popping a lot. Even Spawn #1, people are buying that book up a lot now, and there are a million of that book printed out there. So let's take a look at ASM 316. There we go. 9.8, 90-day average is almost $1,200. Last sale was $1,050. In a year, it's been selling for over $1,000, this book. The year before, it was $400. Now, Venom's going nowhere. We all saw, or we all know, Venom's coming to the MCU. So books like this, just crazy prices. I mean, a newsstand is $1,800 with a last sale of $2,000. Wow. 9.6s in the $400 range. And let's take a look at 9.4s. 9.4s in the $300 range. 9.2s, low 300s. This is another book that's not going down anytime soon. And I think it's well worth picking up if you get the opportunity, because great cover. And cover art sells, goes in ebbs and flows. The market sometimes goes where everybody's driven just towards art. And then we go back to stories and we go back to MCU content and everything else. Kind of seeing an uptick on people chasing books because of cover art. And that's something you might want to look at also. But remember, I mean, you all can do the same thing that we're doing right here and I'm doing and other people are doing. You don't need to have GPA or any of those other apps. If you have eBay, you can check eBay sold. It's kind of one of the best Another thing with these apps is that they're more accurate. You get more sales generated, not just eBay. So you can see kind of what goes on with the market. But if you can't afford it, eBay sold is a perfect way for you guys to look at what books are going for at that point. All right. So sorry if this video is a little long, but I wanted to get this information out to you guys, show you what my thoughts are, how I go about picking books that I'm going to send in. Like I said, it's all about what you pay for the book, plus your grading, plus shipping and everything else, what you think that book is going to grade out as, and, your price value right there. But that's it for now. Until my next video, peace.